Okay, so let's unpack this. You've probably seen the headlines, maybe you read some reports about mass firings in Vietnam's banking sector. But what if that's not really the full
Well,
story?
exactly. What's really fascinating here when you look at the sources
Yeah.
is how they paint a much more, well, a more complex picture. It seems it's less about, widespread problems or distress and much more about a strategic, almost proactive restructuring.
Strategic? Okay.
And it's driven by this really powerful force, digital transformation.
Right, digital. That helps clarify things straight away. You've given us this great stack of sources on Vietnam's banking scene, which is clearly very dynamic. So our mission today is really to cut through that noise, figure out what's really happening for the banks, and importantly for their employees. Hopefully we'll uncover some genuine insights for you. So let's set the stage first. The economy in Vietnam. The sources say it's actually doing quite well, right? Which makes job cut headlines seem a bit odd.
It's doing very well, surprisingly robust, actually. You've got real GDP growth, what was it, 6.9% in Q1 2025?
Yeah, building on a strong 2024, too.
Exactly, 7.1% in 2024. And the banking sector itself, broadly stable. Profitability is expected to improve, return on assets, ROA, that's projected to increase. And credit growth is impressive, around 15, 16%. So you're right, it doesn't look like a reaction to decline. It really feels like a strategic shift.
Okay, a strategic shift, not a crisis response. So when we do hear about layoffs, what are the actual numbers telling us? Can we break that down?
We can. Across 28 commercial banks, there was a net reduction in the first half of 2025, about 2,857 staff.
Net reduction.
And this is key, that hides the fact that 15 of those banks actually increased their headcount.
Okay, so it's not across the board.
Not at all. You see big cuts, sure. LP Bank down almost 2,000, Second Bank over 1,100, VIB also over 1,000 reduction.
Sure.
But then you look at VP Bank, they added 677 people, BIDV up 606, MBA up 468.
Right.
It's clearly what the sources are calling a differentiated and targeted restructuring. It's specific.
Differentiated and targeted. That's a fascinating contrast. So if it's not just general cost cutting across the board, what is the main driver behind this restructuring? What's pushing these moves?
Well, the primary driver, the big one, seems to be this massive wave of digital transformation that's sweeping the whole sector.
Digital again.
Yeah. Banks are really pushing to streamline operations, shift services online, basically become more efficient and competitive. And the State Bank of Vietnam is right behind it, pushing hard. They have these ambitious targets, like 70% of all customer transactions happening through digital channels by the end of 2025.
70%, that's huge.
It is. So this isn't just trimming fat, It's a fundamental strategic push to completely re-architect how banking actually works.
Okay, re-architecting banking. That naturally leads to thinking about jobs. What kinds of roles are actually emerging in this new landscape? If some jobs are going, others must be appearing.
Absolutely. This transformation creates this huge surge in demand for tech-focused roles.
Yeah.
Think data analysis, AI, cloud computing, cybersecurity. Vietnam actually faces a serious need. Something like 750,000 tech-savvy professionals needed by 2026. Significant, a talent chasm.
Wow, 750,000.
Yeah, and it's not just basic IT anymore. People need to understand and adapt to things like blockchain, AI platforms. But crucially, and the sources emphasize this, human skills are still paramount. Creativity, ethical thinking, complex problem solving. AI can't replicate those.
That's a really important point. So tech skills are booming, human skills remain vital. How does this translate into people's paychecks? Are we seeing that reflected in salaries?
Oh, definitely. The shift is directly hitting income levels. For the first time, in the first half of 2025, 7 banks reported average monthly staff income over 40 million Vietnamese dong,
Which is roughly?
around $1,600 a month. TP Bank, for example, hit the top spot at 43.42 million dong per month. It really points towards a kind of two-tiered labor market. You've got private banks especially competing really aggressively for that in-demand digital talent, paying top dollar, sometimes even more than the state-owned banks.
A two-tiered market. And is this whole transformation, this digital push and skill shift, something unique to Vietnam, or are we seeing this pattern elsewhere?
Good question. No, Vietnam isn't alone here. This is very much part of a bigger regional, even global trend. You look at places like Indonesia, the Philippines, they're going through really similar digital transformations in their financial sectors, facing comparable skill gaps, similar regulatory challenges. It just reinforces that what you're seeing in Vietnam is part of this universal shift towards banks becoming leaner, much more tech-driven.
Okay, so it's a global paradigm shift playing out locally. As we wrap up this deep dive, then, what's the core message here for you listening to this, maybe thinking about your own career path in this kind of evolving economy?
I think the sources strongly suggest we're seeing a fundamental qualitative evolution in the Vietnamese banking workforce. It's not just about the number of jobs changing. The future workforce is going to be, well, smarter, more highly skilled, definitely more adaptable, and really proficient at using these advanced technologies.
So that raises a final thought, doesn't it? If this continuous learning, adapting to new tech, and really honing those unique human skills, if those are becoming permanent features of working life, what new areas are you focusing on today to make sure you stay ahead in tomorrow's job market? Something to think about.